Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Neil Thressel, and I'm really excited to have my friend Bernie Cook on the show with me, who's been a business owner for more than 20 years in the mobile entertainment and sound production. And that's cool in itself. But what I really love is that he's a holistic practitioner in the mind body health. And the cool part is Bernie's trained in a whole whack of modalities. So welcome, Bernie.
Thank you for having me, Neil.
So we're just gonna jump right in. And so Bernie, at some point, the younger you had a vision of what success was. The Bernie in high school, the Bernie in college or out of your school. Whatever it is you choose, the Bernie just trying to get lucky, the Bernie just trying to whatever. What was your original that you can remember one of your versions of success looked like?
To be honest with you, in school, I did not actually have goals. I didn't have dreams. I was fully living in the moment. Got out of school, was in the workforce, and I was partying. I had no goals. No goals. I wasted literally well, not necessarily wasted because there was some good stuff that came out of it. I learned a lot, but um, the yeah, I had no ambitions. And then I realized that I had nothing. I was 24 years old when I realized that I had nothing to show for any of the hard work that I had done um, with the various companies that I worked for as an employee. So yeah.
And so this realization that
Hmm.
you had nothing, did it work as a positive or a negative? Did it spur you on
Yeah.
to change something within you?
It did, yeah. A lot of the experiences that I had in life as an employee, I dealt with and was faced with a lot of abuse of power from different people in various positions that I in companies that I work for. I learned a lot about real. All I saw was like negative leadership skills in people, and it was in my mid 20s that I began to realize that I wanted to own my own company at some point. I got into hosting karaoke and I just fell in love with it because it helped me so much with my own self-esteem. And so that really helped kind of perpetuate some of those things that some of the skill sets that I needed for the next leg or chapter of my life. And so when I was 25, I met my wife and we started a company after 6 months after meeting her, and and we started up in the karaoke and DJ industry, and so and we I worked full time, busted my balls, and just wanted to get it done. I wanted to succeed, and success for me back then was it was I just wanted to be able to quit my my initial goals were small and I just wanted to quit my day job, just working as an employee. I just wanted to get rid of that, and I we accomplished it. And then I lost it, and I had to go back to the workforce and rebuild the company again. And so, but I really held on to my dreams, and I wanted it. My heart wanted it, and lo and behold, we put the effort in, and here we are now. Um, the largest company doing what we do in the province. It's pretty cool stuff.
Cool. So what I heard is that at some point in time, the not the dream crumpled, but the mechanism to for your dream fell apart. So you had to go back into the workforce.
Yep.
But what I'm curious about, what was that part of you that kept going to keep that dream alive? Some people, it could have crushed them because they have to go back to the dreaded workforce, but apparently it didn't crush you. So what was it that kept you moving forward?
It was certain people in my life at that time that actually wanted me to fail. In fact, actually, competitors that wanted me to fail at that time because my company grew very quickly at the very beginning. And that was a threat. We lived in a very different era of um, a lot, some capitalistic energy.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way, where money first, and I wasn't money first. I really cared about the industry. I cared about the benefits of what we offered, and and I really, for me, it was really connecting with people on a different level because um, what I learned myself from being a karaoke host and doing public speaking and stuff is that how much it helped me with my own self-esteem and self-worth. And um, I wanted to see other people achieve that same goal, if you will. And so that was really impactful for me. And so I guess you could say I had a pure intention for manifesting our business. It wasn't, oh, I just want to be the best and I just want to do that. That wasn't in our mind at all. We just wanted to be successful. We didn't care about the other people and what they were doing. We made a few mistakes along the way in the beginning. Some hard life lessons were learned there. And about just about integrity and making sure that we stay in integrity and be ethical and all of that. So we learned some hard lessons, but that's part of the journey, in just becoming from who I was to where I am now.
Wonderful, thank you. But I want to come back to, so life kept kicking you and gave you opportunities to learn and grow and gave you those opportunities.
Mhm.
Oh, was there something that pulled you and drove you? Was this vision of this that you wanted to own this company pulling you and driving you? Was it an internal force, an external force? Where do you think this
It
came
it
from?
was to prove people initially it was to prove people wrong. It was a defiant energy, to be fair. It was defiance, pure and pure and pure. Okay. It's just like that's just the way it was. So yeah, that was just it was defiance that kind of initially got us to really dig in our heels. Then it was in that process of digging in our heels, we're like, well, how do we achieve this goal? Like, how do we get from point A to point B, and so that we can be, so that my wife and I can be basically working the business and not having to work in the workforce. And we learned very early on that you need to learn how successful people achieve their goals. And so we hooked on to some mentors. Mentors led us in different directions. We got introduced to Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I think was one of the very first books I ever read on
Yeah.
business. And there's Think and Grow Rich, and there's these all these personal development type material, and which led us into personal development type workshops. And I mean, you and I, we go way back,
Yeah.
and you were part of that journey way back when, because we were doing some of those together, and that's how we got to meet you and your lovely wife. So um, it's it was personal development was key, and that's what kept us moving forward, because the more we learned, the more inspired we became. The more inspired we became, it directed our will to act even more. And so that's really one of the huge keys to success in my opinion.
So, what I'm hearing and underlying is that you had to look at all your pimples and warts in order to move forward. I
Hmm.
don't like looking at my pimples and warts, Bernie.
No one does, but I'm going to tell you something. The reward is worth it. The hardest thing that we ever can do in our lives is look at ourselves and accept our own failings, if you will. Not necessarily failings in the grander scheme of things, but on the human experience, we do consider them failings. Um, and so the lesser parts of us and those darker parts, those shadow parts, are difficult to look at, but if we have the courage and the strength to look at that, and we can begin the process to overcome and evolve those negative behaviors and patterns with our thoughts and limiting belief systems and stuff, and get out of victimization and to become a conscious co-creator of our realities. And so it's a big step there.
So at some point, this young Bernie who had no goals, who had no vision of what success looked like, all, arrives now at where he's sitting now in this chair. What do you feel success is to you now?
You know, success was proving them wrong in the beginning. But then I realized that I was waiting for certain plateaus in my life to be happy. And it was every single time I hit those plateaus of success, I was still empty inside. And through when I realized that clicking moment, that I realized that my own happiness was not is never going to come from outside experiences. I have to become happy first, and then bring that happiness to what I do. And when I do, it evolves, literally evolves and changes the dynamic of the product or service, or even my state of being. And so um, I learned holistic. I learned some holistic modalities, and in that process, I was able to apply that to shift that to fill that void, to replace that void with the happiness that I've been seeking. And I had to realize all the good things in my life. So gratitude goes a huge way, right? And bringing that energy to our daily thoughts, and expression, right? And so when we when our behavior is impacted by gratitude, we start to think positively. We start to see things that we're grateful for. And so I got to see more and more about all the good things that I had, my friends, my family, my freedom, my time freedom. I have time freedom, which I never had before. Things like that.
So that's wonderful, and thank you. But also, as the largest in the province, karaoke, it brings in a whole new set. So your now version of success, yes, financial and all of
Mhm,
that, but Bernie, you had to learn to deal with people. And how
mhm,
did your version, you're trying to prove to the world, the old you is trying to prove to the world, how did your version of success change as you brought on people into to help? Because you had to choose the right people. You had to
mhm.
make sure that they aligned with you. So what did success look like as you brought people on?
Well, that falls into the dialogue of personal magnetism. And so we attract that which we are. We have team members that have been with us for almost the entire time we've been in business, and so it's we have created a family environment in our business, and so people have a choice. I mean, they can be capitalistic or they can be family based, right? you know we For us, family environment is first. And so we establish that, and we establish that connection, that bond with the people, that an experience that they have never had in their day-to-day jobs, because they're just a number. They're a social security number, and that's what they've been treated as. And for us, it's not about that. It's about a connection, personal development. We look at personal growth very, as a very important thing. But also, it's accepting that that which isn't in harmony has to fall away. And so, yes, for a time, people can be in harmony with us. And it's great. It's a great working relationship with our team. But sometimes, for whatever reason, if they get into, they might fall into drug addiction, or have struggle with other areas, and literally they fall away from our company. They don't resonate anymore with the frequency that we are um, uh, attaining.
Yeah.
Or vibrating at, I guess, if you will. It's not out of ego. It's an energetic thing, right? It's energy, not personal. So, um, and so in that process, we find that we attract the right people, and it's like a great fit. And so we have the capacity to pick and choose who it is that we want to work with us, first of all, and represent our team. But um, you know, it's reciprocated in we share the same values. And if they, we strive to ensure that they are appreciated, that they know it and understand it. um and we're very cautious of, okay, let's not be like, no anger. It's about learning. Okay, mistakes happen. Let's learn from them. What can we do to be better about it? I don't hold judgment. No, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be guilting you for the rest of your life, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, so there's
Yep.
relationshiping is involved with uh, being a successful entrepreneur, right? So yeah.
So we're running out of time, but I
Hmm.
like, so how do you think your success went? Did it go exponentially? Like, did it, when you chose that you were going to nurture relationships and that was part of your success, did it,
Hmm.
did your success go up exponentially, or is it a slowly, where would you put your success when you finally and you actively chose that the relationships was the important piece?
It was a part of it, and it did play a role. However, my own limiting belief systems throughout each of the stages, every time we hit like a certain number of shows a week, we would, I would hit a plateau and we couldn't break it, and realize that I had limiting belief systems about that plateau and what that level of success meant. I actually had to do holistic work on myself, release the limiting belief systems that I carried that were manifesting and preventing us from breaking that. It's like a ceiling, right? And so it's energetically. And so if I couldn't break that ceiling, then what, I needed to look at myself, and I did. And in that process, I broke those ceilings. Boom, boom, boom. Every single time we hit a plateau.
And we're back to what it sounds like for your success. You really were required, when you were bumping up and not as successful, however we define it, you were required to look at all your pimples and warts and go within, be
Hmm.
introspective and retrospective of what was going on.
Hmm. That's true. Yeah.
and and I think that's one of, like, most people don't like to look at themselves. They we Many people in the average world would sooner get lost in the Netflix and the Amazon Prime than spend any kind of quality time looking at the possible flaws within themselves.
Digital distraction is huge. It's rampant. Um, you
What
know,
was that?
exactly, exactly, right? So,
So, oh my gosh, it can't be. That is. So we're almost out of time,
yeah.
Bernie. So what would you, if you have something that you would love to share and leave our viewers, our listeners, and whether it's live or on replay, what would you like to leave them with?
All I got to say is that personal development is the single greatest act of self love that we can do, because along the way, we learn how to love ourselves and why we are worthy of that love. Continue, continue to work on yourselves, continue to evolve, let go of old patterns, uh, take those workshops, do the holistic work that releases the limiting patterns and the negative behaviors, right? And then what happens is you become the next version of your greatest self.
Absolutely. And thank you. I want to, like, Bernie just came off of a 15-hour drive, kissed his wife, said hello, and then sat his butt
Pretty much.
down here
Pretty much.
and to be part of this. So thank you, Bernie.
Thank you very much for having me, Neil. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay.